Alright guys, to start this project off, I have a 1/4-inch piece of plywood. Then I'm going to go ahead and plant my elbow down on the workbench and rotate my arm. That'll actually create an arc. And then I move the plywood about 1.5 inches down and create that same arc. And then I'll go ahead and buzz it out on the bandsaw, and you'll see about what shape I have. And I'm going to make 2 of those. Now they're pretty rough right out of the bandsaw, so I'm going to go ahead and glue them together and then clean them up with some files and a little bit of a belt sander. If you don't have a belt sander, it's no big deal. It'll just take a little bit longer with some files. Now the inside of the arc, or the arm is what I'm going to call it from now on, is really just smooth for aesthetic reasons. However, the back end, or the outside of the arc, needs to be nice and smooth because we're going to use it to trace out our spacer. So here I'm tracing out a spacer using a thick marker, and it's going to be made out of some particle board, I believe. It's about 1/8 inch thick. Really any sort of material will work. And I'm going to go ahead and buzz that out on the bandsaw. And once again, I'm going to use the belt sander to clean up the inside of the spacer, because that's actually what our Ninja Star will be rolling across. So we don't want any divots in there that it could possibly catch on. Now it's time for the glue up of the arm, and I'm going to scuff everything up with some about 40 grit sandpaper, and then we'll glue it all together. Next, I'm going to use some 220 grit sandpaper on a sanding block, which I'm going to use a hacksaw today, and I'm going to clean up the inside of the arm. And once again, that'll make sure it's all nice and smooth so that our Shurikan or Ninja Star can slide right out of there without any friction. Now once I clip off these little ends, I'm going to go ahead and match the bottom of our arm up with a handle, and I'm tracing it around the angle that I think I want. It ended up changing as the project went on because it just wasn't working very well. And for you guys, our dimensions are going to be a little bit off if you do decide to make this, so it'll just be a lot of trial and error on your guys' part. So sorry I couldn't be a lot of help there. But in order to attach our arm to our handle, I'm going to cut a dado joint using my table saw. If you don't have a table saw, you can always use some drill bits, files, and chisels. Now I ended up clamping it up with a C-clamp to get a little bit more pressure specifically where I wanted it, and then I tossed a couple screws in there just to make sure everything was good and secure. And a scrap of 2x4, of course, isn't going to be the most ergonomic handle shape, and it really wasn't very comfortable, so I went over to the bandsaw and got a good amount of the chunks off, and then I worked it down with a rasp and the belt sander. Then after that, to make this thing look a little bit more cooler, I'm going to scorch the wood, which will turn it black. So here are my first couple throws with a launcher. As you can see, I didn't really know what I was doing, and the Ninja Stars just went straight for the concrete floor, which wasn't too big of a deal. However, Ninja Stars are not the safest thing to be whipping around a garage. So I ended up switching to coins because not only are coins a little bit safer, but they're pretty disposable, they're cheap, and I didn't spend 30 minutes making them. A machine did. So here are a couple throws with that. Now look, I'm not going to lie to you guys and tell you this is the most accurate thing in the world, because it's not. And I hit stuff maybe once every 5 or 6 tries. But it was a lot of fun. Now you guys need to realize that weapons are only going to be as safe as the person using them, however mistakes are always made. And here you're about to see me realize that I just punched a hole in this gas can. So I let out a couple choice words, and in this next clip you'll see the little hole that I punched. The penny didn't go through or anything, but this just goes to show how strong and powerful this tool is. Here's some plywood that it punched, and you'll see in a little bit a toolbox that it dented up. So once again, be safe, guys. I can't stop you from making this, but always be safe out there and have fun.